Hello, this is Dr. Strickland. In this video, we will continue our investigation of drug chemistry by talking about some of the functional groups that we find in drug molecules. Now, a functional group is an atom or group of atoms that gives a compound a distinct set of physical and chemical properties. So we're going to look at a few and some basic naming, just so that we can get around in the drug structures that we have in this chapter. Okay, so in an ether, what you're going to find is an oxygen atom bonded to two carbon atoms with single bonds. So here's the oxygen, and it's bonded this way and this way to carbon atoms, and that identifies it as an ether. So in order to name it, we have to name and number the parent. Now, the parent is the longest continuous carbon chain, so the oxygen cannot be part of the parent. The parent has to be, well, it involves one of these carbons connected to the oxygen. It's going to involve the carbon that's on the longer carbon chain. So that's the parent, and then this here is the alkoxy group. Now it's one carbon. One carbon was methane when it was an alkyl group. It was methyl when it was an alkyl branch, and when it's attached to an oxygen like this, it's called methoxy. The oxy just tells you that there's an oxygen in it, and the oxygen is actually bonded to the parent. So we have here one methoxy, and then three carbons, that's propane. So when you look at an ether, it's going to be bonded to carbons in two directions. The side that has the longer carbon chain is the parent, the other side is the alkoxy group. All right, with ketones, you've got an oxygen atom bonded to one carbon atom with a double bond. And so you see that right here. So the parent has to include this carbon. Now, in this case, there are only three carbons here. So we're going to name and number the parent. Okay, so this is a propane. Identify the carbon that's attached to the oxygen with a double bond. And then you assemble the name using the suffix ONE. So we're going to put the 2, which shows the position of the ketone, out before the parent. And we're going to change the E of propane to ONE, to propanone. And so the 2 tells you where the ketone is. Okay? The other name for this is acetone. It shows up in fingernail polish remover. Now, in an ester, a carbon atom is bonded to one oxygen with a double bond, and also bonded to the oxygen of an alkoxy group. So this is what identifies the ester. And when you're naming an ester, you have to know two things. Where's the parent? And the parent has to involve this carbon. And this is going to be carbon 1 of the parent. This is carbon 2. And also there's going to be an alkyl group that's attached to the oxygen bonded to this carbon by a single bond. And this is an ethyl group because it's got two carbons. So when you name an ester, that alkyl group that's bonded to that oxygen comes first, and then there's a space, and then we're going to do the parent. So two carbons here, and then instead of having the E of ethane, we have OATE to tell us that there is an ester. Okay. Now, ethanoate, common name for ethanoate is acetate. So this is also called ethyl acetate, which is the big component in non-acetone fingernail polish remover. All right, so the last functional group we want to talk about in this video is amines. And in an amine, a nitrogen atom is bonded to carbon and or hydrogen atoms with single bonds. Amines are further classified as primary, secondary, and tertiary. And this has to do with what's bonded to the nitrogen. If the nitrogen is bonded to two hydrogens and one carbon, then it's a primary amine. If it's bonded to one hydrogen and two carbons, it's a secondary amine. And if it's bonded to three carbons, it's a tertiary amine. Now we're going to name these amines with more of a common name than a systematic name. What we're going to do is name all the alkyl groups in alphabetical order and then follow it by the word amine. So there is one alkyl group here for this primary amine. There are two here, and there are three here. All right, so first thing I want you to do is jot down the names of these alkyl groups. So pause the video, jot them down, and then come on back. All right, welcome back. So if it helps, I would number these carbons. You know, this is the first carbon. All right, so this is just the bond to the nitrogen. The first carbon is there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a butyl group. By doing the same sort of thing, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Butyl group there, 2 there. So this is an ethyl group. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. This is butyl. 1, 2. This is ethyl. And this is just one that's methyl. All right, so pause the video and write the name of the first one, and then come on back. Welcome back. So if you've got a primary amine, it's just butyl and then a space amine. If you've got two, the B of butyl comes before the E of ethyl, so this is butyl ethyl amine, 3 words. And then here, a B and an M and an E, so this is butyl ethyl methyl amine. All right, so please answer the question at the end of this video, and I will see you in class.